It's a make or miss league.
Make dimes. Check out this sweet no-look behind the back dime from Vince to Cam Reddish. Matt, have we been sleeping on Vince the passer?
I think Vince is one of the most talented players the game's ever seen, from being able to do everything. I've seen him shoot half-court jumpers left-handed. Like, he's a super talented player, but yeah, he's definitely a solid passer.
And it's like, after 22 seasons, let me show a different facet of my game besides the dunks.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and he can still get up. Okay, let's not diminish that part of his game.
Taking a playoff.
Yeah, for sure. That's veteran savvy right there. Next, we move on. Miss slumps. Lonzo came out firing last night with 3 first-half triples. Janae, does his form look better to you?
It definitely looks better to me. I think before it was like an east and west jumper, then it went north. Now it's just straight up north and south, so I like this. I stand by this new jumper.
I obviously think the form looks better, but more than anything, it's just confidence. He has great confidence. Now, I think the best thing to happen for him was to get out of LA, get out of his comfort zone, and I really think this is going to be an exciting, fun team that's going to give a lot of teams trouble this year.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that they've got a perfect kind of mix of veteran guys and young guys. It's going to be really fun. They're going to be the league pass team to watch for sure this year. All right, make backboards. Other side of the spectrum here, Andre Drummond walks into an open 3, and let's just say it didn't go well. Matt, should he stick to hanging out in the paint?
That was ugly. There's a big difference between making these in the summer when there's not millions of people watching you and then the lights being on. But I just didn't understand his back out like a Steph situation. Like he knew he was going in and it almost broke the backboard.
This is the difference between guards and posts. I stand by my post here, okay? You've got to take them to make them. So this is absolutely preseason acceptable.
Sure.
Preseason acceptable.
I mean, it's not like when Andrew Bynum shot that 3 and Kobe gave him the death stare. You know?
I was on that team with Phil Jackson. Phil was pissed. He benched him, and then Bynum came back in and shot another one. He really didn't give it.
Take that.
That was a little different, certainly.
Yeah.
This is a different instance. All right, let's move on. Miss awareness. Couple of nutmegs last night. First, James Harden, and then Trae Young. Let's see Harden here.
Oh, that one's clean.
Okay.
And the foul.
And then we got Trae Young here. Oh, that is nice.
I like that.
So, Chiney, which one was better?
I like Trae's just because, like, he was in open court and he, like, pushed it through.
Yeah.
Pushed it through to, keep going up the court. So I go with Trae's.
I like Trae's because it happened to my good friend JJ. And then you get the second view of him just kind of just fanning backward like what just happened to me. I love that part of it.
All right, let's get to Zion Williamson's preseason debut where he lived up to the billing. He threw down this dunk in the first quarter. Let's get to it here in just a second as he put on a show for the crowd in Atlanta. Look at that. Good Lord. He finished with 16 points in 28 minutes. After the game, check this out. This was the media coverage surrounding Zion, who was all smiles. So, Chiney, after just one preseason game, is it too soon to call Zion must-see TV?
Never too soon. I mean, he was must-see in college. He was must-see in high school, so might as well in the NBA be must-see TV. Now, in my opinion, I was waking up this morning, I was following SportsCenter, saw the game and all that stuff, but then I looked at the bottom that SportsCenter ran, and I mean, just check this out. Like, that's just must-see. Like, you have to watch that. That's why people will be all league passes. Did you say it, Georgia?
League pass,
league
the
pass.
team.
Yeah, number one, they're going to lead in streams. But, like, I was looking on SportsCenter, and they had 16 points, 7 or so rebounds, 3 steals, 3 assists, and then they had put 3 dunks.
Yeah.
And I was like, this sort of reminds me, and I think we should really have dunks on the stat sheet.
Yeah.
Because Zion changes the game in that regard. Like, I want to watch him play, and if I don't watch him play, maybe he has 20 points. I want to know how many of those 20 are actually dunks.
Right.
Because that's like the aspect that we all love to see. And I actually got to meet Zion when he was on the AAU circuit back in the, well, I would say back in the day, it was like 3 years ago. When he was 16 years old, and then I met him again and saw him again hosting the College Basketball Awards.
Right.
And this is a guy that's humble and hungry. He's reminded people that he is a rookie, but at the same time, like, this is must-see basketball just because he is different. He's the first of his kind. He is not LeBron James.
Right.
Very similar being like 6'6", 6'7", to LeBron 6'8".
Right.
The power, the athleticism, but like just watching this New Orleans team, as you mentioned, young talent, veterans, like it starts with Zion, it goes with Zion. The sky's the limit really for him.
I think she said it all. I mean, since he stepped on the scene when he was 14, 15, he's been must-watch TV. He's continued to grow and get stronger and faster, if you can believe that. And it's going to be a fun team. It's going to be a fun season for him. And I think just his talent alone, his athleticism, his hungriness, his ability to run in transition is going to get him 16 to 18 points a game, and that's going to buy him a year or two to be able to develop the rest of his game. But I really think the sky's the limit for this kid. Like she mentioned, very humble and down to earth, and that's I think what I love most about him. I don't ever want him to lose that fun part of it, because we all know being in the game for a while it becomes a business. I love the enthusiasm and the energy on his face. He's always smiling.
Yep.
I'm excited for him and the Pelicans.
Yeah, he's a team first guy too. When I was at Summer League, that's what everybody kept constantly saying, that he didn't want to do anything by himself. He didn't even want to do any interviews by himself. He wanted to do everything with the team. So that's certainly a good sign
Put
too.
dunks on the stat sheet.
There you
do
go.
It for New Orleans.
There
do
you
it
go.
for the culture.
Earlier today, Zion's former college coach Mike Krzyzewski weighed in on California's Fair Pay to Play Act in a statement. And it might not be what you think. Coach K said this, quote, "I don't and won't pretend to understand all the complexities of such a change. However, it is a sign of the times that we in college athletics must continually adapt, albeit in a sensible manner. While we have made significant progress in recent years, we've not always responded to the needs and rights of our players swiftly and frankly. We're playing catch-up after years of stagnant rules. I hope and trust that not only will there be a plan to put the student-athlete's best interests at the forefront, but that will also have a firm plan for implementation at the national level." So, Matt, what's your reaction to Coach K?
I love his open-mindedness compared to Coach Feud of Gonzaga. I think it's a situation where you have to understand in the big scheme of things, 99% of student athletes don't go pro.
Right.
We're always looking at the 1% on shows like this and ESPN Sports and all that kind of stuff, but 99% of these people do not go pro. And we bust our tail to become the best athletes we can be, along with students. And then if you're not fortunate enough to make that next jump, what's next? Our whole lives we've trained for this, just like other people in business have trained to do what they do. So we're kind of behind the 8 ball if you don't get a chance to make that next jump, and 99% of the kids don't. I see nothing wrong with kids getting paid to play.
And more importantly, as you know, Matt, when we were in college as student athletes, that was work. That was work. And a lot of people say that your degree is compensation. How often are athletes going and doing the degree that they really want to do? They sometimes settle just because they feel like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do that strenuous, maybe hum bio major or computer science major because I'm still trying to be a top athlete. So that compensation value with degree is just a little bit lower. But I like Coach K pretty much co-signing on this whole movement. It's big because Coach K just gets it.
Right.
He always meets athletes where they are and also where athletes are going. That's why Duke has been dominant for so long. Coach K has always been aligned with the athlete's best interest. And I mean, pretty much whether you're a one-and-doner like Zion or whether you're a 4-year player like Grayson Allen, he meets you where you are and gets the most out of you. And that's the futuristic mindset that I think California is understanding and Duke understands through the leadership of Coach K.
North Carolina is one of the states. Florida is another one of the states that's looking to implement something similar. You mentioned Mark Few, the coach at Gonzaga. He did an interview recently with Jeff Goodman of Stadium, and the quote that came out of that interview is about Gavin Newsom in this particular act. He said, quote, "He should probably stay in his lane, like I tell my players, and figure out homelessness. I think he's got a state that borders Mexico and get that mess figured out." And that was one of the quotes that came out, Mark Few of Gonzaga to Jeff Goodman of Stadium. So that, when you were alluding to that, it's different, certainly a different side of the spectrum.
I mean, when you let people talk long enough, their truth will come out. You know where he stands, but what bothers me is he's almost making $2 million a year at Gonzaga from the likeness and what the players have been able to build him. He obviously helped a lot of players, but the players have helped him acquire a stature where he's one of the elite coaches, and I'm sure he's taken advantage of that in that community as well. So why can't his players eat off the same thing?
Right.
That part.
No doubt. All right, coming up, Hall of Famer David Robinson joins Rachel Nichols and Richard Jefferson in Shanghai. Stay tuned. More here on The Jump.